Hey y'all, this is a video on parallel circuits and your basic calculations. So I'm going to draw a basic parallel circuit. That's your battery symbol. Comes over here, a resistor, back up, move the paper here. This is another resistor in parallel. Parallel means like this, pretty much hooked beside each other. Like if you was hooking two batteries in parallel, it'd be red to red, black to black, or positive to positive, and negative to negative. Like that. A lot of people do it, rebuild an engine to give the starter more current. Okay, now this is your E, which is 12 volts DC. This is R1, that's R2. Make this 12 ohms, this one 12 ohms. Now, the formula I'm going to show you is only for a parallel circuit with two resistors. If you have more than two resistors, this formula will not work. And I'll show you the other formula for more than two. It equals R1 times R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay, so this is 12 times 12 over 12 plus 12. Okay, so this equals 144 divided by 24. So our total equals 6. Now, also, if your resistors are the same, you can just do it this way. Just say R total equals your resistor value divided by 2. What am I doing? Yeah, that's right. I get confused sometimes. Just do it like that. That's only if they're the same. Okay, now your amperage across each one of them. Okay, we'll do the voltage first. In parallel circuits, E total equals E1, which equals E2, and so on. Because if you got 12 volts across these two, you're going to have it across these, and so on. And that's only true in a parallel circuit. So in this case, E1 would equal 12, and so would E2. That's volts. That's pretty simple right there. The amperage is the only thing that's different. This is your I total here, going this way. And your I1 goes down here, and your I2 goes down here. So now, you know your resistance and you know your voltage across each one. So now you can find your amperage. I1 equals E1 divided by R1, which equals 12 divided by 12. So I1 equals 1 amp. And since these are the same, R2 or I2 will equal 1 amp. Then your R total equals I1 plus I2 equals 1 plus 1 equals 2. So your total, I total, is 2 amps. You got 2 amps on your circuit. And you can double check yourself if you want. Saying I total equals E total divided by R total, which equals 12 divided by 6, which equals 2 amps. That's how you can check yourself. Now, for more than two resistors, you redraw the circuit. So we'll just do it with 3. God, that's messy. Kind of in a hurry. I don't want to make the videos too long for you. Sorry about being so sloppy. Okay, there's your next level of a parallel circuit. Let's make this, we'll make it 12 volts. Now, we'll make them 12 ohms again. So that's R1, R2, R3, 12 ohms, 12 ohms, 12 ohms. Pop my hand, my fingers are getting sore here. Okay, now what you'll do is you'll write it out like, this is called a reciprocal. You people in math probably know what I'm talking about. Equals 1 over R total equals 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3, and so on. Now the tricky thing about reciprocals is, I made it simple. I made all three of them the same. If your values are different, you have to find the common denominator, which is your number on the bottom. So now 1 over R total, okay, equals 1 over 12 plus 1 over 12 plus 1 over 12. Okay, now what you'll do, I keep kicking the camera, it's a tripod. Your 1 over R total equals 3 over 12. Now with the reciprocal, you gotta switch it. So your R total becomes 12 divided by 3. So your R total equals 4 ohms. Now, once again, in a parallel circuit, you can make it simple, since this is only if your resistors are the same. You take your value and you divide by how many's there. That equals 4. It comes up like that. This is how people figure speakers in cars and guitar amps, PA cabinets, PA systems, and stuff like that. Now, to find your voltage, which is the same as it was before, you got 12 volts across here. So E equals E1, which equals E2, which equals E3. In other words, it's 12 volts across this one, 12 volts across this one, and 12 volts across this one. The only time they have to equal is in series, like the last video. Now, this comes extremely handy in people doing guitar amps, like I just said. Like, suppose you got a PA head that requires a 4 ohm speaker load. If all you have is suppose you got two 8 ohm speakers. Well, if you hook your 8 ohm speakers in parallel like this, we have 8 ohms here, 8 ohms here. You'll do your R1 times R2 over R1 plus R2. So you have 8 times 8 over 8 plus 8. I'm not the best at mental math, so 8 times 8, 64 over 16. 64 divided by 16 equals 4 ohms. And again, since they're both the same, you could just do it, 8 divided by 2 equals 4 ohms, like that. And I should have mentioned in the series circuit video, suppose you need an 8 ohm load, and you got two 4 ohm speakers. Put one speaker here, and one speaker here. If this one's a 4 ohm, this one's a 4 ohm, and they add together to give you 8 ohm. So if you're into designing stereo systems for cars and amplifiers and stuff like that, these formulas will come in really handy for calculating your speaker loads and everything like that. Well, I guess that's about it. Got any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer. And this is my longest video I got on YouTube so far. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.